And with that, we have the push of the big red button marking the next to the last show of 2021.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, I bring you Scott Jernigan.
Hey, folks, I'm Scott Jernigan. And with me today, of course, as always, is Dave Rush.
I am Dave Rush.
Absolutely.
So this is
for those of you who don't know who I am, I'm editor-in-chief for Total Seminars and one of our primary authors and instructor as well. Dave Rush, of course, is senior instructor for Total Seminars and the host of this show. And I'm doing all the talking because I'm wired. Happy holidays, friends.
Yeah, I don't imagine you have yet opened the Christmas gift I brought over, but when you do,
not yet, although we might do it right here online. No, I'm kidding.
I have to get mine. Hang on. Well, good greeting time, login name. And as Scott said, I am Dave Rush, senior instructor at Total Seminars. And this is Dramas. Dave Rush, Ask Me Anything, and Scott. I don't have to do this. It's drama. Well, it's dramas because he was here from the beginning.
There
working
you go.
Both the front channel and the back channel. I am very excited. You have kind of a new thing going now. You appear with Shannon on Mike's show.
You mean the alternative Mike?
The Ultra Mike. Ultra Mike. There we go. And here with me, I haven't seen you on our board for ages, so it is a real joy to see you. That totally mangles my intro, because I have so much fun with that when you're back channel, because I have you all. I write up intros. I have nothing to do until 2 o'clock in the morning this morning, so I work on finalizing the show and then make notes, and always a fun intro for Scott. And so I'm not letting it go. Author, co-author, minstrel, deep sea construction engineer, noted biologist, specializing in crossbreeding carrier pigeons with reindeer, the result of which, of course, is the motive force behind flying sleds today.
Excellent.
Believe you're working with Elon to make sleighs self-piloting, but the incident with the Iron Dome thing, I kind of pushed the project back a bit.
You know, a little bit, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
And the last piece, I'm going to expose your alias.
Oh no!
I've been keeping it under my hat for the 10 years that I've been working with you, but you'll find him online. You can certainly look Scott up as Scott Jernigan. Look him up in Total Seminars. But if you look up Teddy Salad, easily the most dangerous man in the world, you now know his true identity.
You, how could you have done this, Dave?
Tell me you get that. And since I'm doing pop references, and it's a Monty Python character.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Pop references aren't just lost on me on Mike's show.
Yeah, I know, but you're a Python head, to be sure.
I am.
I saw a line one time where somebody was quoting Python lines around their not so geeky girlfriend, and the line was something like, "I'm a girl. I don't even like the good episodes."
Wow. Wow.
Well,
that's pretty impressive.
Scott, you've got a good handle on things. Maybe you could tell us, what the heck are we doing here today?
We are here for a couple of reasons. Those of us who are still in lockdown or back in lockdown, as the case may be, and studying for CompTIA certifications, we're here so that you can ask us questions. We write the books and do the training materials, and now we're making ourselves available for you to ask questions on things you're studying. So IT fundamentals, A+, Network Plus, Security Plus. We can go beyond that. Dave Rush consistently goes well beyond that into CYSA Plus and Pentest Plus. So this is the Ask Dave Anything, or Ask Me Anything with Dave Rush. So DRAMA.
I think that was a Barry Manilow reference in there, right? I write the books that make the whole world know. Maybe
That's
not,
it.
huh?
That's it. I love it.
There's a reason I don't sing. If I were Mike, I would say I have a voice like a sailor, but I won't finish that. Everybody's heard it too many times.
Right.
Hey, well, everybody, we get together 3 times a week, and it was a toss-up as to whether or not we were going to do it today and again next Friday, but I'm stuck at home. I'm on a vacation and I can't not work. I do total projects every day. And so, and I'm always working on a pie. So why not just keep things going and take an hour or two out of my life? We have no shutdown time on this thing. We normally run 2 to 4 my time every Friday. We're going to go, however long it feels like. I'm going to take some Q&A. I got a very simple project presentation to show you, but it's so cool. Once I discovered some of the techniques I'm going to show you today, my life changed. And I hope you find one thing in here out of the 4 things I'm going to show you that may change your life similarly. But the real reason we're here, Scott's wonderful explanation notwithstanding, is we got vouchers. We got
yeah. We have a gift. We have your show giveaway. That's right.
That's it.
At some point,
and I know that's the reason that 90% of our audience will be here as the show continues.
Right on Christmas Eve, of all things. Like, what a Christmas present that would be, right? Or that will be.
It'll be fun.
Absolutely.
All right. So ask questions if you can for a little while. We'll take questions for a bit. And you're not working the back channel much, so I'm going to do a lot of my own posting here.
I've got it right in front of me.
Okay.
So I can certainly do that.
All right. I already got it highlighted. So
Okay.
we got specials. Not only do we have a free CompTIA voucher, but Total Seminars has enough. And by the way, cover my base here. Total Seminars is giving it away on behalf of CompTIA. CompTIA called Mike one day and said, we got vouchers that we would like you to give away on your show. And Mike's jaw hit the floor,
right?
And we jacked it back up and he said, sure. So they will be very kind with that. But Total Seminars also has some great stuff for you. It's available only to those of you who are watching our presentations, Mike's AMAs and Scott and Mize. Scott and Mize, I've always hated that. Mine and Scott's is better, but doesn't sound right. Anyway, drama.
Hour.
There we go. Ussens, yinses, y'allses. We got bundles comprised of an ebook and the associated total tester practice test questions. Head on over to totalsem.com and load up on A+ bundles with those 2 items and Sec+ bundles and pretty much everything we've got. If there's a matching component for an ebook and a total tester product, that will constitute a bundle. When you check out, use the code GIVING because this is the season of giving, right?
Beautiful.
And you will get 50% off of that. That's good through this Sunday night.
Excellent.
Hey, so let's see who has joined us. Oh my, it's a pretty good start.
Yeah, very early. We had Sahil Vasia at 1:30, right along with Tulawit, and Wilson as well.
Except you have to go back just a little bit more to Tulawit, who posted at 6:45 p.m. our time last night. I know, which I'm thinking is probably around midnight his time.
Well, it was the end of the raid in World of Warcraft. It's gotta be it.
Oh, is that what it was? Did you guys play last night?
I didn't, but
okay,
you might have.
All right.
I get on much earlier than he does.
Yeah, well. And I wonder why that would be.
I don't know. Something about that time zone thing.
Something about living 13 time zones away from us, huh?
Right.
Yeah, I like that. So as you say, Sahil Basia is here. And by the way, if you're following along as we're reading these posts, Scott, tell them how to maximize their efficiency in watching and reading and posting.
There are a couple of ways. One, by default, YouTube goes to what's called Top Chat, which is their already pre-censored chat. You don't want that. You want to hear and see everything. Mike did a thing on subnetting, for example, and all of the binary he was doing was censored because of Top Chat. You just can't do subnetting without binary. So anyway, do the little pull down and switch it to live chat, and then you'll see everything. Also, the 3 little dots, the vertical ellipses or the kebab. If you click on that, you can toggle the timestamp on, because as you can see, we're up to 2:08 in real time, but we're looking at people's postings from 1:47. So we're a few minutes behind as far as
we'll get caught up.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll catch up shortly, I guess. But that way you can see whether we've skipped your question, and if we have, just ask it again. No worries. or if we haven't gotten to it yet. Okay.
Great. Thanks, Scott. So at 1:35, man, there's a lot of early check-ins.
Yep.
So, Wilson Kanzwana is here. Nice to see you again, sir. Thomas Cole, got to have more pie.
That's right.
To heck with
It is the season.
cowbells. I need more pie. I feel a skit coming on. I feel a spoof skit. Alan Duggan's here, one of our early regulars. I love the Christmas tree emojis and the whole Christmas emojis. I went shopping yesterday looking for a backdrop of Christmas prints and thrilled to find out that the fabric shops put all the Christmas prints on sale. It was like,
excellent.
Cool. So I didn't have to
sell them now.
If I had been efficient and gone shopping, 2 months ago, like everybody else, I would have paid twice as much.
Well, there you go.
And would have gotten a lot more selection.
There is that. There is definitely that.
Happy Christmas. That's right, because Alan is not in a place where we say Merry Christmas. So happy Merry Christmas to you.
Absolutely.
Abayad is here. Good afternoon. One of our multiple winners, right? No, he's won a voucher. He didn't win a total tester yet, but you are eligible by all means. Scott's here at 1:59 with 1 minute to go. TD Washington, Avinut, and other names that I know because you and I have emailed, but I won't share them with anybody.
There you go. Oh, you're not going to out him. You out me, but you don't out him.
It's funny how that works. I know where you live too. I've driven there.
Right.
TD. Hey, Anjuna fam. Oops, wrong channel. That's
right.
Good. I like that. Melikali, I can never pronounce it unless I'm singing it. Tulawit. You want to try it, Scott?
Melikalikimaka.
There it is. That's the way it sounds. You sound just like Bing Crosby when you do that.
Oh, that's it. Wait, let me croon it.
Will Shaw is here.
Of a white Christmas.
Nice. What a voice. Love listening to that. So Will Shaw, my other favorite pilot, is here. We have a few pilots, but Will is a Delta
Excellent.
jock. Delta and former Flight Express pilot. Yeah, right. So they were a quasi competitor of the outfit I was with. We flew Piston Twins and Learjets and dragged checks around, canceled checks at night. So just passed. Oh, congratulations. The Linux Essentials. He was planning on taking that. He did and passed it. Congratulations. Net Plus Total SEM next week.
That's right.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Congratulations.
Net Plus with Total SEM next week. Are we giving the Net Plus exam, Scott? That would be cool. We should give exams. Oh, there goes Kitty Cat.
She's not in insane mode yet, but we'll see.
Okay, Tulawit, that was Mike Myers' final boss stage. Jason's here. Greetings to us both. Abu Bakr Al-Haj. Hello, Dave and Scott. Salam alaikum. Habibi, nice to see you. I can do that. I lived there.
Excellent.
Excellent. Steadiest Shark, another one of our Anglanders. Merry Christmas. And all this time, I would have expected him to say Happy Christmas. Had to be away for most of the last 2 weeks. I hope you had a positive experience, whatever you were up to. Glad to see you back. Ho, ho, ho. And Andre de Goyert's here. Merry Christmas. Man, what a nice Merry Christmas for Andre, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
He got the gift of getting his wife home. So that's great.
That's
and his
awesome.
mother-in-law's there.
So, good things and bad things. I'm kidding. Yeah.
Nice. Hey, I have neighbors. Apropos of nothing.
Okay.
It's true. I have neighbors.
Okay.
And they are immigrants from Russia, long ago became American citizens and wonderful people. And okay, good enough. So they had their first grandchild the other day. And so I went over to meet the baby and I said, now recognize I grew up in Northern Ohio, Cleveland area. And in that area, there were historically two large immigrant groups. A neighboring community near us has the second largest population of Puerto Ricans in America outside Puerto Rico. And that's one. And so learn a little Spanish and a little dialect there. And then the other one was Polish. We have a tremendous amount of Poles living in there, and some Russians and lots of Slavic components. And so you learn a little bit of Polish, and there's a lot of crossover. And we'd always learned. So back to my original point, name for grandparents, grandmother. And so I said to the missus, so can I call you Babushka now? And they both went aghast. And I thought, what is, are they upset because I am identifying that they're aging? And they said, no, my pronunciation was absolutely horrible. You do not put the emphasis on the second syllable. It's always on the first. So
Babushka.
Babushka. And that's grandmother. And then I've never heard grandfather. And so they taught me that. And again, emphasis on first syllable. Tulowitz watching this, he speaks Russian and he's saying duh, but right. It's Dear Bushka, D-Y-E-R, close enough. So I've been saying that to myself for the last 2 weeks, so I get it right next time I go over and say hi to the baby. I know that was really helpful in drama, huh? But it just dawned on me.
Nice.
All right.
So, Abu Bakr wants to know how you learned to speak Arabic so very well.
Oh, well, I wouldn't say very well. I can count to 10 and find a restroom and give directions to my driver. But after the airlines all went bankrupt here, I was an airline pilot for US Air at the time. And so I took a job over in Saudi, flying for Aramco over there. And so I lived there for about 2 years and became reasonably well entrenched in the culture and fun. So that's how.
Excellent.
I learned the swear words first, of course.
There are no swear words in Arabic.
There are none. All right, I super scrolled. I'm coming back here. There we go. All right, so the special was posted at 2:06. Scott, while I read questions, you want to throw up the Discord link?
Absolutely. So Total Seminars does not have a Discord channel, but there is an unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel run by our friend Jose Braden. And moderated by people who you'll see on this chat. I'll post the link here. It's a great place to bring your camera, bring your microphone, ask questions. We tend to go live right after the AMAs, at least for a few minutes. Sometimes it goes well beyond that. And we get to interact real time with you. And that's very, very fun. So there's over 500 people now in the Discord.
I think over 540 last time I looked.
Yeah, quite a group of techs and students. So we're all levels of our journey, and it's a great place to ask and answer questions.
Thanks.
So check it out.
Nice. So yeah, I will be on Discord a couple of minutes after the show today. There's not much going on here. There hasn't been many questions posted in the last 2 days on the forums that I support and moderate. Right. So I shan't be long.
Right.
At 2:07, Sahil posted, can I showcase my experience in security field through blogs or write-ups through job perspective? Absolutely. You can use that for all kinds of purposes. Include that as a link in online or paper resumes. Do it for your own purposes and your own exposure to the world. And if you do that, you drop me a note. Let me stick up some contact info here right quick. I want you to send me an email, Sahil. Hang on, let me go to the share page. There we go. Share. I'm ready today, but I'm not very neat today. Anyway, okay, so write me a note, daveR@totalsem.com. When you do this, you can also catch me, drushtx at Yahoo. You can catch Scott at scottj@totalsem.com. And I don't see him on here today, but I did see him posting this morning in other worlds. Andrew Hutz, another one of our writers here and editors and all around knowledgeable tech guy. He's great for questions. Anyway, send me a message when you've set your blog up, and I will include it on my Friends of Show plug that we do later in the show here, and people can, you'll get some exposure here for that. And yes, certainly good for job hunting. I have, well, I'm not job hunting right now, but I have a number of media presence all over the web that if and when Scott gets smart and says, I've had enough of you, Rush. Don't even pack your things. Just get out. We'll ship what we feel like to you. That I'll be able to build up a resume and say, check this site. And you're such a good actor. You laugh like it's not going to happen.
Nice.
Darius Bryant is here. Darius, you are the subject of a conversation this very day. We've seen you here on Mike's AMAs and my AMAs. We've seen you on Discord, and I saw you on another Discord recently, and you had this marvelous post about helping people study for various certifications, and you included in there a very famous quote that you'll probably find listening to one of Mike's AMAs or reading some of his stuff. What you need to study is, Scott, what are the three things?
What you need to, you mean what you need to do your studies?
Yeah. Yeah. What three items?
So according to Mike Myers and many other experts, people learn in different ways. So having a good book, having access to video training, and very much having access to good practice questions. This is essential.
Which is exactly what Darius posted on his other forum. So I thought that was really cool. Thank you, Darius. That was awesome. And Andrew is writing interestingly in, I think that's a Central African language, right? Predig Kerstfeest Allemaal. Now, I fortunately can translate any language. So that's the pretty feast of Kiers for all bad things. Allemaal, right? So,
yeah, that's it. I'm sure that's what that means.
It's kind of like Festivus.
Yeah.
I've amused myself. I love it.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, like I said, 2 or 3 words. Abu Bakr, thank you. Andre, the wife home, the mother-in-law too. It's all good. I like my mother-in-law. Just hard to talk to her since I don't speak Ukrainian and she doesn't speak Dutch. Oh,
that's a challenge.
I have a suggestion. There are a number of very common languages, Pig Latin, Alpha Latin. There are some international symbols, sign symbols that everybody knows.
Just put Google Translate on your phone.
That's right.
And it'll do it in real time with voice and sound and everything. So,
yep. Hey, so there it is at 2:15. Tullowit posted it phonetically. Babushka. Thank you. Well, good. I'm glad you like that, Abu Bakr. Yes, I am a pilot. I was a pilot. Now I am a computer instructor. So 2:17, Scott's got the Discord invite link. Hope you'll join us. We'll post that again one more time before the show wipes up. I didn't even have to look at the name. Hello, nerds. I knew who posted that right away. Nice to see you, Patricia Grace. Scott already responded to her. You were just too good. You're so far ahead.
I've got both feeds going. I keep looking away, and why I'm laughing because Tullowit's making funny jokes.
The smart one.
And Andre, back me up on it. Google Translate is what they use to talk.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
The translators these days are so powerful, so practical, and so useful. Okay, so you having your new power supply is in Tullowit, and it's super quiet. Yeah, they always start that way.
And then all the cat hair gets in, and
that's right.
The dust and the little criminals. Or if you're in Houston, it's the mosquitoes.
3060. Single fan seems like a decent deal. PNY. Oh yeah, right. We talked about this on Discord. We have all kinds of, these conversations here. You get 140 characters or 200 characters, whatever it is, and we try and deal with that as much as possible. But when you're to talk about something at length in detail, voice to voice, long post, man, join us on the Discord. There are always wonderful, detailed conversations going on there, and as many people here are experts as there are. We can all use a little bit of help every now and again, and we were all jumping in to help Tullowit, which he had fully troubleshot, didn't need our input, but it was a lot of fun. Here comes JM. JM does not get into the social post. Hey, how you doing? Merry Christmas. Things are great here. Nope. He dives right into every AMA and drama with a deep brain-hurting tech question. So JM, when would you use a parabolic antenna to connect 2 buildings? Actually, the answer is built right into the question, but let's keep going. And when would you use a directional antenna? And if the distance is 2,500 meters, what would be the DBI recommendation? Okay, 3 pieces there.
Definitely
So
can't do that third part, but
yeah,
go ahead.
I couldn't do that without cranking down. And there's a lot of variables there. So we're not going to be able to answer that one very fully. But when do you use a parabolic antenna? So it's not just for connecting two buildings, it's connecting two distant sites. Take your basic directional antenna. Okay. And I got one, but I'm not going to dig it out. We'll just pretend. Got a little directional antenna. It's that long. It's got cross members on it that taper down. Okay. The signal that comes off of that antenna is very strong off of one end, and it gets weaker and weaker and weaker as it gets around to the sides until there's, relatively speaking, no signal, and likewise on the back. The problem with a traditional directional antenna is that weakening is very slow. So we get a lot of signal going out here that's being wasted. It's not going out straight to the front. Now, there's nothing wrong with that because that meets certain requirements for certain locations. Parabolics, on the other hand, are parabolic in nature because when you send the signal from the right place in front of the parabolic dish, it hits the dish and then it goes straight out. So all that output signal is concentrated in a cylinder. It expands a little bit over distance, but there's no waste. So I get a lot more signal strength both in transmitting and same thing on receiving. It concentrates those signals that are coming in from not a nice straight line, and then it bounces them to the central receiver in the parabolic. So whenever I need a strong concentrated signal that doesn't deviate much out of the path between the two dishes, that's when and where I want to use a parabolic dish. So I'll use a traditional directional antenna when I'm willing to accept some off the sides, off the front angle leakage. And when I want poor reception and poor transmission off the back of it. By the way, on a parabolic, there is no reception or transmission off the back. And then how many dBi? Well, the problem is, what's your input power? So we don't know that. We don't know the dB amount of magnification, of amplification rather, the effective radiated power. So RF engineers come up with that. There's great places online. I don't know if that was Katie or Maggie, but I saw somebody back there.
Katie.
So I don't have an answer for that. You can look it up with various calculators online, but you're going to need a little more information. I have a couple of dishes in the back that are good. We tested this one time for 11 miles. And what it does
Wow.
is it takes, we've got it in a couple of Mike's videos on A+ and Net Plus on Udemy and the other places that we have those videos. So they're really cool. These particular dishes aren't native 2.4 gigahertz dishes. They take the 2.4 gigahertz or the 100 megabit or gigabit Ethernet, converts them up to a 5 point something gigahertz signal, sends them 11 miles up to 11 miles, and then converts them back down into whatever the original source symbol was.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. They're tons of fun. And outside testing, I've never used them. They're going to wind up at Goodwill one of these days. All right, everybody's choking in with Meli Kaliki Maka. There we go. Season 750 watt platinums. Inputs always welcome on your troubleshooting. Thank you. There's a name I don't know. A new name. Thank you, Hunter Zarnick. Nice to see you here. I know some Zarnicks in Pennsylvania and Ohio. Scott's Cat has joined us. This was back at whatever time that was, 2:24. How are we doing here? 2:29, only 5 minutes behind. That's cool. Antenna explanation now with hand puppets. If you've ever seen me dance, you don't want to see me teach like Mike does with interpretive dance. So
that's right. There you go.
I rely on my Italian heritage.
I understand.
Yeah. So you can use parabolics in all kinds of places, certainly building to building, building to the outhouse shed. I can't run cables underground or overground, or it's longer than 100 meters. There's a great place for a parabolic. We designed one for our CEO's connection to his boathouse from his house. Right. And then he moved. He doesn't have a boathouse anymore.
What was he thinking?
I'm sorry, did something like that with over a distance of 10 miles. Ha! I got Linus by a mile. Wasn't kilometers. All right. Well, I'm caught up on questiones here.
Yep.
And I'm not gonna read all this gobbledygook because we're trying to do a reasonably short show today. I should mention last week we explored Magic, a command line editor. Didn't even scratch the surface that it's so cool. It's so powerful. If you are someone who needs to manipulate graphic files from a script or manually from a command line, Magic is your tool. Today, we're mostly taking questions, but I got a brief presentation on ways to use the SSH client that you probably weren't aware. News, tricks, and techniques of the week. I went to Micro Center earlier this week, did a little last minute Christmas shopping for some geeky friends and family. And while I was there, I encountered two notable things that were outside my reason for going.
Wait, you mean were there geeks there?
Four. And I was two of them.
Awesome.
I was really pleased. It was a Tuesday, I think, and it wasn't crowded. I got a feeling today it's hammered. I had heard people who've gone to our local Micro Center and get there not particularly early. They're not waiting in line out front before the store opens, but get there in the morning and they had 3060s in stock. Wow. NVIDIA RTX 3060s. And so just for curiosity, hey, do you have any 3060s in stock? They said no, but we have 3070s, 3080s, and 3090s in stock. I was agog.
How much?
And so I said, just for curiosity, how much is a 3070? 1,000 US. Okay, thanks for playing. I'm out the door.
That's actually coming down.
Is it?
Yeah.
I haven't looked. I've just been so far out of the ability to spend that kind of money on video. I'd spend $600 or $700 on a 3060, but I can't bring myself more than that.
Yeah, I just ordered a bunch of components for a soon to be coming a book coming soon to you and a video series, and ordered a 3090. And
you know what? I have always said, after we do a shoot and Mike distributes parts and pieces to all the staff, I have never said, I'd like that. That would work for me. I could. This time, 3090, you say.
A 3090.
I know what's going on my desk. At least I'm making a bid for it. Michael want a cash bid. Can't just raise your hand and be first and have a good reason. Mike, here's 200. Put my name at the beginning of the list.
There you go.
And it's probably not enough. The other thing that I encountered there is about 2 months ago, Raspberry came out with a new Raspberry Pi model. It's a cross between the Raspberry Pi Zero and the Raspberry Pi 3B. So it's got the 3B processor. It's got the size of the two. It's a nice thing, and it's $15. So I say, you know what? While I'm at Micro Center, they almost always have this kind of stuff in stock. Hey, you got one? It's called the Pi Zero version 2W. It's wired. It's got a Wi-Fi in it. And They laughed uproariously. No, none in stock. So I came home that day and I logged into the US distributor and said, well, I'm going to do what I did last time I wanted something that's never in stock. I'll just pre-order one and prepay. And when they turn up, they turn up. So I placed my order for a pair of them, and then they posted when it's expected to arrive. End of May, early June, 2022.
Wow.
I am in patience mode.
Because you can't do anything else.
Yeah. Scott, I've got a link on the back channel for the free AWS CSAP ebook. If you would post that. It's www.gocloudarchitects.com, something or other. This is a posting these folks put up for a free ebook for studying for AWS CSAP, the Systems Architect Professional. And I think they're still taking signups for that. And the book became available last night. I got my email and the download link. So I think you can still sign up for a free ebook, even if you're not interested in pursuing AWS CSAP. I think it's really good to familiarize yourself with the background, the technology, the terms, So that's what I'm going to be doing next week. I'm not doing much work outside the scope.
Wherever you posted it, Dave, I don't have it.
Okay, well, then I will post it here. I knew there was something I was looking for that I was going to add to the back channel today and didn't. I'm not going to put an explanation on it. I'm just going to post it here at the current time, which is 2:35 on the feed. Yeah, there it goes. Okay, cool. And is that it for, oh yeah, and a reminder for next week, for next year, I do the discount codes now for all of our Total Tester bundles and ebook bundles. I'm looking for your input. Send me what you think. Just drop me an email, daveR@TotalSem, a good single code word, easy to pronounce, something that people won't get confused, and your reason. I don't want to see you send something that's geschmorf, and that's a private joke between me and my wife. Let's get something that people can kind of figure out and have a little fun with that. I'll keep coming up with them until you do, but love if you do that. Last thing from Tricks and Traps and Techniques. Scott, would you post the Zapto, the PyR Square link?
I will.
So I have a server that I bring up weekly that has a copy of all the documents that I use in preparing for shows, the pictures, the PDFs, the outline, other things. And I save them on this server that Scott just posted to. It's pyrsquare.zapto.org.
.org, it's a pirate site.
Yeah, it was a pirate show. I'll get my patch out again in a few minutes. All right. In the interest of brevity, I'm not going to post the friends of show this week. So let's answer the rest of the questions and then do a couple of minutes of project and then do a contest and see where the rest of the day takes us. We either more questions or we wind her up.
JM had a follow-up question on
of course he did.
232.
Okay.
That when connecting two buildings in a secure site where I want to minimize people outside the organization from seeing or tapping into my connection, would it be better to use a directional antenna? And there's already been some chatter. So,
okay. Well, before I read the chatter, the most secure wireless connection that you're going to be able to make is with parabolics. Pretty much the only way to tap a signal in a parabolic is to get a pole with an antenna on it and raise it up between the line created between the two parabolics. You're going to get more leakage out of a traditional directional that's not as directional as a parabolic. Anybody buying that?
Tellowit had a good response at 234, and that was go with underground cabling.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, physical cabling is always going to be more secure, especially if it's underground and not easily tappable. So,
and and you could do your other thing too. Let's go two approaches on this. One, certainly make sure that all the content between those two transmitted sites is encrypted. Now that means you may or may not have the ability to pull that off. Depends on the utilities that you're using, the data that you're moving, and the utilities that are moving that data. But there are also scramblers. So you take your network router connection or your switch connection, connect that to an encryptor. It encrypts before it gets sent into the parabolic dish. Then there's a decryptor on the other side, and then that goes into a switch on the other side. So, but no, nothing's hack proof if it's wireless.
Right.
And all parabolic dishes have that secondary feed that does go straight to FBI. So. Yeah, it's a little bit cheaper before this 3090 and 3070. Okay, says Abu Bakr, sorry. I added an L. No, use the dishes, less leaky, exactly. So we're all generally thing. Sure, physical cable's always way more secure. Sneaker net, physical. Yeah. Boy, that'd be horrible. Every time I want to do a link across the street, I got to put it on the thumb drive and run across. This is a fragment of the request that I'm making to the web host on the other side. Maybe not. Okay, I posted the link for getting a free AWS exam prep book at 235. Andre's answering Tolowit at JM. Scott says PyR Square is our server. Enjoy it. It's up there and running. And discount code. What about? Thank you. Thank you for Cyrillic and anglicized Cyrillic for the ones not using it. You guys are a trip. I love this group. That's kind of
Nice.
doing something you were doing recently. I last night I'm working on Discord and answering questions, and I wasn't answering questions. I was just conversing with people, and it dawned on me that the unofficial Total Seminars Discord channel is 10 and a half months old, something like that now. It's got over 500 people. And so from nothing has come a community, and within that community, tight-knit sub-communities of groups that can rightly call themselves friends. And I think that's one of the, there's problems living in the future, but what a great thing, huh?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Merry Christmas. The show must goes on, says Mr. S. Welcome. All right, well, let me talk a little bit about SSH.
Okay. Tell us all about it, Dave.
All about it. I'll try and not drag this out too long. It's 1440. We will be done no later than 10 minutes after the hour, and then we'll do a contest, and hopefully it goes quicker than that. So we all know SSH is a secure protocol for communicating between two hosts. There's an SSH client side, there's an SSH server side on there, and we use it typically to establish a command line, a terminal, a shell connection between a client and a terminal and a host rather. So we can issue commands on there, check status, run commands, things like that. It can also be used in other ways. You can take advantage of the secure services of the SSH protocol. Let's not confuse that with the SSH client, which uses the SSH protocol to move files and to do other kinds of encrypted services. So I want to talk about the SSH client today. We take it up for faith that it's using the SSH protocol. Where will you find SSH clients? Everywhere. They're built into Windows. You have to enable it by going into the functions and features menu, whatever that the official name of that thing is called. But it's there. You turn it on. You don't have to reboot or anything. And suddenly you have the SSH command available in the command line. Scott, is it called SSH in Mac OS? I never did bother to look that up. Or is it called terminal?
I'll look it up.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's either terminal or SSH, and all Linux distros have an SSH command in them. And one of the really cool things about all of these SSH commands, oh yeah, and then there's the graphical ones like PuTTY. And everything that we're going to do today works in all of these versions of SSH clients that you'll find on the various different platforms. Now, I've borrowed a tutorial, and I think I put that on the back channel, but here, I'll tell you what, I'm going to post it here because you're researching. Okay, this is not a tutorial, it's informational, and I just took a few things from it that I wanted to share with you. There's a lot of other good information there, but I kept it a little tight for today because I didn't want to do an hour presentation, and you don't need it. Okay.
The SSH in Mac OS is called terminal.
Terminal,
also.
okay. So all SSH from most platforms operate in a similar fashion. The general syntax is to type in the name of the command if you're working for the command line, or to double click if you're using one of the graphical utilities. I assume terminal starts graphical, and then once you've opened the session, then of course your text base. That's the way PuTTY works. But in general, the syntax is SSH command followed by the IP address or the name of the host that's running an SSH server on it. And the two SSH client and server will talk together, and they will first come up with an agreement on what's the best encryption method that we'll use to communicate hereafter, for even when I send the account name request and the password and all the data that's going to move back and forth. And the server has a list of supported protocols that are of encryption protocols that are ranked best to least. And the client has a similar list. They may or may not match, but some of them are going to match. And they pick the one, I guess, that they both have that is the highest in both of them. Okay, for this session, that is the encryption protocol that we're going to use. So once they agree on that, the server sends back a request. What's the account name that you want to use to log in as? We put in pi or root or some traditional account name. And you'll see yourself type that in. You type in pi, you'll see PI appear. And then it's going to prompt us for password. And when you type in the password, you won't see anything happen. The cursor won't move. It'll just sit there and blink at you or do nothing. And that's a security feature so that anybody looking over your shoulder won't know how many characters you typed. They certainly won't see them. So you got to type in carefully or, be able to make the mistake, and hopefully your server doesn't have some limit on how many mistakes you're allowed to have before it locks you out. But you type in the password, you hit enter, and suddenly you find yourself at a shell prompt, and everything that goes back and forth between the client and the server is encrypted based on that protocol they selected. So let's fire up and do a couple of basic commands along these lines. Let me open up a command window and then share it.
Always a good thing.
Thank you guys. I want to share with you. All right, so basic syntax, basic usage of the SSH command is SSH followed by the name or the IP address of a host. How about this on 192.168.1.121? That's a server here on my desk. Oh, look what happened. Screwed up. It says, I see that you are logged in on this computer as an account name named drushtx. So that's what I'm going to automatically feed to the client. No matter what password I put in here, it's going to fail because I don't have an account called drush over there, drushtx. So I'll put in test here, hit enter. I was waiting. Nope, you got it wrong. Try. So I'm just going to break out of that with Control C. All right, so we're going to fix that. I'm not on a Linux. I'm on Windows CLS. There we go. All right. So before we get a successful login, I want to show you one or two other things. First of all, I will mention, we're not going to do this here today, that you can bypass the whole password process by pre-setting up shared keys between your client and the host. I did an episode of that 1 year and 1 week ago, and I'm going to post that here on the feed. And if you're interested in seeing how to do shared keys in an SSH connection, there we go. Nope, that's not it. Let's try and copy that again. Control C, click Control V. There we go. And there's a space there. Okay. All right, you can go check out that episode and learn how to do keys. It's a really important thing to do in the real world because passwords are guessable, hackable. Obviously, strong passwords are better, but passwords are passwords and they have inherent weaknesses, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, sorry, I'm reading my notes here. I went radio silent. Okay, let me show you the generic syntax of what happens with an SSH command. I'm not going to hit the enter key on that because that's not going to work, but we do SSH and then you can use options after that. I'm going to show you 2 or 3 of them. Then you specify the user account name that you want to use to connect to a host. And then you identify the host by name or by IP address. And then there are things that can also go after this. So this is the core syntax of the SSH command. Now you don't always have to type all that in because you can sometimes take advantage of the default values for them. So first thing I want to show you is I just failed, not the one here, I'm creating a scenario now. I had a failure. I got a phone call of somebody who failed to log into a host using SSH. And I have this theory that it's because they're running this ancient Windows machine with an old version of SSH and it's not supported on the new server that they're trying to connect to. So let's try this. SSH space minus capital V. Uppercase and lowercase flags work the same on Linux versions of SSH, on Windows versions, on terminal, in PuTTY. And I'm going to show you all the flags there in a second. And what that's going to tell me is the version of OpenSSH that I'm using. It's 8.1p1. That's the critical part. And here's what we're using for secure sockets. Now I can check that against the server that I'm trying to connect to and find out if they're compatible. Let's take a brief look at all of the possible flags that are available under SSH. Lot going on there. I could do a 3-day show on this, but as I said, I'm going to do 3 or 4 and that's about it. But some really cool stuff. You can specify which encryption mode that you want to use. I want to use Blowfish. I want to use AES 256, whatever the case may be. And if the other side supports it, that's what you do. That's what it'll do. And if it doesn't, then you won't be able to make the connection. Cool. SSH -- help. I think in Windows, you can also do SSH /help.
Typo there.
You know what? If there were less S's. Nope. Oh, because he's trying to pick that up as a name. So you got to use the dashes or the double dash. Cool. We're already getting good stuff going. Okay, so let's do a real login this time. Now, the first time you log in to an SSH server with a client, it's going to prompt you for a fingerprint. I've already logged into these many times, so it's going to gag, but we're going to do SSH, and then we're going to specify the account name that we want to use. There are 2 ways to do that. -L space, the name of the account you want to log into, and then the host address, the server's address, 192.168.1.121. Okay, so now you can see I'm trying to log in as Pi on this server's address. The password is Raspberry, RASPBERRY. So nothing happened. You didn't see me type it in. And clinko blango, I get logged in. I get a warning that says, hey, you're still using the default password. You should not do that. That's right. But for what I'm doing, it's a demo server and I don't really care. Because otherwise I would have 60 different passwords that I have to remember around here. Couldn't do it. All right. When you're done with SSH, you get out of it with the exit command. Stop it. Now, the other way to log in and pre-send an account name is to use the account name, the @ symbol, no spaces, and the name or IP address of the host. It works and looks exactly the same. Prompts me for a password. I put in Raspberry. And I'm in.
So this goes, JM posted a question precisely on this at 2:43. Does the SSH work the same in Windows as it does in Kali Linux?
Absolutely. SSH
so it's still going to be the same.
Works. Keep going, Scott.
It's going to be the same. You can do the Pi at.
That's right. These all work and act exactly the same. Same for Mac terminal. If you're using PuTTY, they have a command line box that you can type in command line stuff like -L account names. Now, let me show you something really cool. I didn't even write this up, but this is so cool. And I use this all the time. I log in with SSH to a Pi server. And then while I'm in there, I can use its SSH command. This isn't the SSH in Windows. This is the SSH in my Linux Pi box, and connect to some other server. How about 192.168.1.141? Oops. Now, if I don't specify the account name here, it's going to work. I'm logged in as Pi on this server, and there's a Pi account on that server. So I don't have to do Pi at or -L Pi. So, okay, let's take advantage of that. And there it is. You're logging in as Pi over there. What's the password? I think that one's also Raspberry, RASPBERRY. Yeah, there we go. So I'm SSH'd from Windows into this Pi, and then SSH from this Pi into that Pi. And I do that cascade 3 times every week when I'm setting up. This is my my internal development backup web server for the documents. And so I do everything on here first, and then I SSH from here over to my real online server. So when I exit out of the 141 server, but I'm back in my 121 server. Raspberry Fireplace is its name. And when I exit out of here, now I'm back into my Windows command line, C:users drushtx. You can do that endlessly. It doesn't suck up any more memory than one SSH connection on each server. So cool stuff. Love that.
It is cool.
Now, when you connect from this server to that, or from this client to that server for the first time, it's going to ask you for a fingerprint. Or some utilities will say, do you want to ignore the fingerprint? The answer is yes, I want to do that. And what will happen is not a key exchange, but a fingerprint exchange that says these two machines now know each other. And so if I ever try to use this to log into someplace else, or somebody else uses different credentials, they won't have this fingerprint and it'll get denied. That's a little funky, but here's what I want you to know about it. Let's say that I made a change to the SSH server over there. Maybe I took the card, the micro SD card, out of that one and put it into another Raspberry Pi. So that Pi is the same. It's got the same name. It's got the same IP address. Well, there's something different about it. There's something different about the hardware, and it has a new fingerprint. So when I try to SSH to it, the fingerprints aren't going to match. There are other things that will change the fingerprints, adding and deleting other pieces of software, typically that mess with port 22. So if that happens, what you have to do to fix it is on your machine with the client SSH, you've got to find where they keep their file that holds a list of all the fingerprints. It's different on every platform. Here it's buried down about 3 levels deep under the home folder, and you edit that file. It's a text file. You go find the line that has the IP address of the host that you can't log into right now, and just delete that line. Close and save the file. And now you establish an SSH connection that says, hey, you don't have a fingerprint to that. Would you like me to send you the fingerprint? Yeah, and he'll send me the newest, latest, greatest fingerprint that he has. It'll get automatically added into my file, and I'm good to go for till something else major changes again. All right, did that. All the ways to log in. All right, let me show you something different. The problem with an SSH server is if I were to ask everybody here who's been studying A+, Net+, or Security+, what's the port number for SSH? Most people are going to raise their hand or shout out, Scott, what is the port for SSH? I forgot. Oh, pressure.
What, 22? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's 22. So if you're a scanner, if you're a penetration tester, if you're a white hat hacker, if you're a black hat hacker, everybody knows that SSH runs on 22. And that's one of the first scans that you're going to look for. Is this person running an SSH server on port 22 here? So one of the security tools that we have in the SSH server configuration file is the ability to change its default port. Instead of 22, we could use something like port 34567, something between 1024 and 65,535, or a better range. So what happens now, if I want to connect to that server that has it's called a custom port or customized port, all you have to do is the same SSH command, except we're going to add -P and then the customized port number that it's listening to, 34567. Now, if we hit the enter key on here, there's nothing over on the .121 box that's listening on 34567, so it should gag. I'm trying. There was nothing out there. The server said, we got nothing at 34567, but you get the idea. Cool. Almost done, and we're about to get to what I think is the coolest, most powerful, most useful thing. The nature of SSH is that we need it to log into some host, usually a Linux box, but Windows has a built-in SSH server. Macs have built-in SSH servers. They do some different things. They support different commands once you've connected to them. But that's the nature of what we typically do. We establish an SSH connection with some box out there, and then we run commands. And when we're done running the commands, we exit out. How about we shortcut that process by using SSH to send the command there without bothering to log into it, run the commands and exit out, and have it send back the response. So I don't ever have to actually open up a shell connection with that server. So that's what I want to show you here. This is really awesome because I use this all the time now. All right, so I use the hard way to log in with an account, SSH -L space, use the PI account to server 192.168.1.121. And then here's the command that I wanted to run over there. I wanted to run ls-l, show me the files with certain additional details of this particular folder. And notice that you got to use an account that has appropriate permissions to do that. So he says, all right, I'm connecting over there as Pi. Give me a valid password. You still got to do that. Raspberry, RASPBERRY, enter. And so he says, okay, I ran the ls-l command in the home Pi pictures folder, capital P. And here is the results of that command. I got a total of 4 things. There's hidden things. I have to use a different command here to see the other 3 that's missing there. But here's the file that's visible, and here's the permissions on that file, and you get the idea. So this is really useful if I just want to run a one-shot command someplace and not bother to log in, type in the command, and come out. Now, how about you want to do more than one command? We can do that. Yeah, scrolling down to where there it is. It looks very similar, but there's 2 minor differences, as you would expect, because, okay, so it all starts the same way. Let's go a little bit nuts here. Let's use the other way to log in. -pi at, put in the wrong place. There we go. Oh, and something I wanted you to notice up here, home Pi. I forgot, it'll come back to me. All right, so here's a list of 2 commands. We separate them with a semicolon and a space. That means you could do a 3rd command or a 4th command, just separate each one by a sem and a space, and then put everything after the host name or the host IP address between double quotes. So this is going to run the same command as that first one. And then it's going to run another command called host name. Oh, got to do the password still. You can't just do this unsecurely. And there we go. There's the results of the first one that we saw. And then here's the host name command run as Raspberry Fireplace. You can make batch files out of this. That's what I do when I send my files that I've created that are going to go on the shared servers up there. There's a little batch file that uses SSH or SCP and runs commands over there. And it gets fun. It gets powerful. Now, there are a couple other commands that the tutorial shows that I'm going to mention here. I'm not going to teach them in here. So let me post, first of all, a link to a show where we did a couple of these in full view. That was back in August of 2020. There we go. So if you want to learn how to use FTP from the command line, or you want to use SCP, which is a command that uses the SSH secure connection to move files back and forth, you can do that. There is also a command. I didn't even check and see if this is in Windows. Let's see. Yeah. You can use the SFTP command in Linux, on Macs, in Windows, and it will securely do FTP, but instead of using the FTP protocol, it uses the SSH security protocols. Checking my notes. All right, so let's close that thing out. I'll unshare that. How we do here? Cool. 5 minutes past the hour, just like I planned.
Cool stuff, Dave.
Thanks. So I turned myself back into instructor last night when I wrote this class. There's 3 things you do when you write a course. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them. So let's do a quick review.
All right, sounds good.
We checked out some useful and powerful SSH option flags, like how to check the SSH client version, SSH space minus capital V. We looked at a couple different ways to pre-send the login account name when we launch SSH, the -L space account name space server IP, or SSH space name of the account at server name. We looked at how to connect to an SSH server that's got a custom port number running. After the line, -P space, the custom port number. And then we looked at how to execute single and multiple remote commands. And all you have to do is add the command, and notice that flags and spaces are supported. That's the thing I wanted you to know, following the IP address of the host, and it'll run it. Or if you got multiples, put them in quotes and separate the multiple commands with semicolons and sorry, reading back channel notes here. SSH server like you can the client. Yeah, okay, good question. All right, so there's a
I'll ask
question.
it. I didn't want to ask it if there wasn't a good answer. So if you can check the client, and that's important, right? Because if your client is running some old SSH program and it can't connect because the server's not, how do you check the server?
Right, so let's connect to a server and find that out.
Okay.
It's much more simple than you might imagine. Let's see, we'll go to that same server that we've been running.
Okay.
Raspberry, RASPBERRY. I know you can't see it. Stand by. You will. All will see all that there is. Share screen. Click it. Okay, so here's the latest, greatest version of Raspberry Pi operating system. And all I'm going to run in here, this is included now. We used to have to manually, the old command to find out what services are running was the top command. Let's see, let's queue with that and run htop. A little more information, a little more argued out. So what we would do is we would look in here and find the SSH server, which is always going to be SSHD on all Linux machines. I suppose there's some odd exception out there, but let's see, I don't have an SSH running, so it's going to be a low CPU usage. But you're going to look through this list and you're going to find it, and you'll see the path that there it is, SSHD. It's in user sbin. I'd have to widen this out a little bit to find out the rest. Let's highlight that. There we go. Now when it disappears. And now I can run the command line off of their SSHD, SSHD, and it'll be -V, well, minus help, and that'll give us the list of all the supported commands, and one of them will be a version flag. Reading. Options, host key file, log file, config. Probably buried in the config file. Oh, no, it specifies the config. Yeah, I got to look up this SSHD, but there's a command in here that supports it. Oh, here's, by the way, where you set an alternate port. They ran a D on that command line on there, and I don't see it in here. So there's other undocumented commands. Oh, wait, it's right here. Duh. Open SSH 8.4 P1. There it is. So whenever we ran the SSHD command, he automatically spit out the version. And interestingly, that was the identical version that we ran when we ran our open SSH client on Windows. It said open SSH _ 8.4 P1. And then obviously it's been customized here for Raspbian or Raspberry Pi OS.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah. Dive out of that. Okay, let's see what kind of questions popped up. Then we'll do a contest and get ready for Christmas if you're into that sort of thing. I am.
Really? I couldn't tell by your background.
Yeah, I got my Santa suit.
That's right. That's right. And you're obviously sporting the Santa look.
That's right.
Good.
Since I was 14, except when I was with the US Airlines. Over in Saudi, I was allowed to have it. That was cool. And the French pilots, they're allowed to grow beards and have wine with their cockpit meals. So want to fly for Air France. Well, guys and dolls, let me look at something here. Okay, it's a good turnout. It's good for a contest. We are going to do a contest.
All right, sounds great.
That contest is going to be, hopefully you won't be surprised by this, for a CompTIA exam test voucher. Works anywhere in the world that CompTIA testing is available. So somebody's gonna win this, and when you do, go ahead and post that now, Scott. What you're gonna do if you're a winner here is you're gonna send an email to me, davr@totalsem.com, with a list of information in there. Scott's posting it right now at about 3:10. I'll answer that shortly, JM. And I'm going to put up a post when we get done with the contest that will review that, but I'd like you to copy and paste this. Everybody copy and paste it or download my documents. It's in there. So you can send me exactly the correct information. I've had 6 winners in the last couple of weeks. 5 of them I've had to write back and say, you're missing this, you're missing that. And it's all in the instructions that Scott's about to post.
Posted. I had to look, I didn't find it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got it. Now you tell them about the contest while I get that.
No, I posted it. I posted
You found it? Okay.
Yeah, all good.
All right. So our contest is as fair as we can make it. It's a random number guess that I generated from a system. Scott, the number range and the number that was generated by the random number generator is at the top of the feed for today or near the top. So we're going to post
should I tell them the random number?
Absolutely.
Or just the range?
That'll really help the winner count.
The range is pick a number between 600 and 999. The person closest, not going over, is the winner.
We'll go with closest today because of what that number is. You can post 3 guesses, but not on the same line. Post a number, post a number, post a number.
All right.
Somewhere else.
You're going
Somebody
for
did
it.
that
Okay.
last week.
All right.
They outsmarted me. I got a list of 5 numbers on the
Right.
line.
People are already posting numbers, by the way.
I see numbers being posted. Boy, everybody's is bunching their numbers close together. There we go. Now I see some coming up in some other places. By the way, if you've already won a voucher, we have a good number of people on here. You cannot win another voucher today. We'll be doing that again in the future at times, especially like when body count is nice and low. But if you've won one on Mike's show, you've won one on my show, today you are not eligible. You are certainly eligible to play, however. We'll look up your winner name or the names of all the past winners up until now and look it up. Wow, that one's just amazingly close. But that's a previous winner, I believe. Let me check that. Yes, man, there was one person in here who was 3 digits off, 2 digits off, whatever. Oh no, 4. Okay, so that one is the Scott, what you put on the back channel. I do not see that in my winner list, but let me double check it here just to make sure. I don't remember it, but there are getting to be so many winners
Patricia.
that the ability to
123.
memorize them is definitely fading. All right, that is a good name.
Oh, wait. Hold on.
Another one?
I saw the wrong number.
Okay.
That's totally wrong.
Okay.
Right. Let me keep looking. Sorry.
Okay, we're going to close things down here. The last one that I have in my list was a guess from Abu Bakr al-Hajj, who purposely apparently made a guess of way out of range. Remember, the range is 600 to 999. All right, so let's go find a winner. Okay, I see one that's 10 off.
I see one that's
Oh, that's
8
20
off.
off. There's one that's 10 off.
There's
on
one
the
that's
high
8 off.
side. Sorry, Scott.
There's one that's 8 off.
Oh, yeah. Sure is. Let me check that one for a win. Because if not, the one that's about 4 or 5 up from that. Okay, that was a winner. That's the one that's 8 off has already won. Yeah, that the name you just posted is already a winner.
Actually,
so just glancing through. That one was close, but not close enough. Okay, I think we have a winner.
only 6 off on his second post.
Yeah, but that's the person that we know by 3 names, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Okay, that was a win on 10/22 on this very show.
Really?
So,
Okay.
Here, let me.
Oh, then let me keep looking. Sorry.
Yeah, here's the one that I've got that's closest. You can double check me. This person has multiple guesses, one that's under and one that's over. I show the one over by 10. I guess I could look up and put the time mark on there and post that in the back for you.
I'm with you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Okay, we have a winner. A relative newcomer to the group. Congratulations. And okay, I got to confess that my number was not randomly selected. I selected a number because I felt like it. This is not the last plane that I got certified on, but next to the last plane that required, it's a thing called a type rating. It's something you need in order to fly jet and certain large aircraft. And for me, that was the 767. So if you got a number that's closer than this and I'm wrong about it, that's the other rule of this thing. The name we pick is the name that wins. So let me copy and save this to this file. And then Scott, you can go ahead and announce.
So we've got Will Shaw as our winner. So congratulations, Will.
Another pilot.
Just in time for Christmas, whether you celebrated it or not, get a CompTIA voucher usable anywhere CompTIA tests in the entire world. So pretty epic.
I should mention, so here, let me get this contact information up, and what Scott posted the info on how to send this to me at, what's the time mark on that, Scott? There it is, at 3:11 my time, 11 minutes past this past hour. And I'm going to post everything up here. And then I want to tell you something really important about this. AWS unofficial totals and the voucher winner. There it is. Share this. All right. So Will Shaw, you're going to send me an email, which you have done in the past. So I know you know how to do this. Send it to daveR@totalsem.com. Identify your YouTube name and your real name. That's winner's name. I need the email address that you want CompTIA to have in the body of the email. That's the thing that almost everybody mistakes, is one of their common mistake. Which exam you want to take, be specific, the number of the exam, because there's some exams that have the same title as each other, but they have different numbers. So it's A+, it's going to be 220-1001 or A+, 220-1002. If you're in the United States, Delta pilot, I'm thinking you are, indicate that you are in the US and which state you're going to take the exam in. If you get that email to me today, it will go to CompTIA today. However, it's New Year's Eve. They're not going to get it today. And I expect delays over the next week or two, because like every place all over this nation and probably many parts of the world, people are not always going to be in the office. So don't write me in a week and say, where's my voucher?
Right.
They'll get to it. They like you. Okay, I want to do one final thing on here and then check final questions, and then we'll close up. Do this in the next 5 or 6 minutes. Let's do this. I'm going to share this again. I just want to get to my share PDFs and see if there's anything that I missed and that I want to talk to you about. So here's a review. Scott, if you would, while I'm doing this, repost the Discord link. Here's contact information for myself, for Scott, and for Andrew Hutz. You can catch us all at totalsem.com. I'm Dave R., Scott J. for Scott Jernigan, and Andrew W. for Andrew Hutz. If there's more contact methods that you'd like, just pause your playback at this point and make notes on this page. There was our bundle. The code week for the discount, for the 50% discount, is giving. Go to totalsem.com, load up your cart, and put in the code giving for the 50% discount on that thing. Here was the website to register for that free CSAP AWS book. Here's the Friends of Show. You can pause this here and go check out some of the folks who are regulars here who have cool places for you to visit. Scott posted this a while back. This is where we got some of those useful SSH techniques, all formatted in a nicely done thing. That's why I borrowed it from them. Here's another Discord channel. If Scott's doesn't work, click harder. Just click it again. Look around on the page. You'll find a continue anyways. You can try this one as well. This codes change every week. Okay, that was the voucher winner. And if you want to pick up my archive documents, I'll keep this running through Sunday night. This server will be up for the next 72 hours, pirsquare.zapto.org. You'll find a download link on that. It'll take you to another page. Every download document that I've ever created for all of these shows is there. And I have one other thing that I want to share with you. Scott shared this with me. Scott is Captain Over the Top Setup Christmas Display. I try, I don't get anywhere near him, and I didn't post anything here today, but he sent me a couple of pics of his latest. I've seen him in person. Let me share this with you. It is, as his always is, utterly awesome. And I'll let you describe this when I get it shared. Bingo. And then you tell me when to move to the next page.
Okay.
All right, we're up.
So I have for an inner city house, I have a fairly large yard, and we don't ask me where I store all of these full-size reindeer, and they're very sparkly. But we decided to go with a pandemic theme this year. And yes, all the deer are measured. They're 6 feet apart. They're all masked. And we have little signs posted saying, keep 6 feet apart, social distancing. And go ahead and hit the panorama so you can see the kind of.
And you moved them around from the last time that I saw them in person. They look more like they're milling about now instead of kind of lined up. And that's kind of cool.
They're queuing up.
Yeah.
Yes, they are in a big line.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so
it's going to the. There are 2 deer seated around the Christmas tree, with a bunch of presents there, and so they're queued up to go visit Santa.
Oh, I see. Okay, we can do this. Oh, that's cool. Nice. And is this a single shot that you took with a camera, or is it stitched together? How'd you do this?
This is using the panorama feature in an iPhone. And this was a 10S, so not even the latest and greatest. I just basically stood there and very slowly did the panorama, and the iPhone stitched it all together for me into one amazing photograph. That
really is amazing. That's a powerful feature. When you mentioned it to me offline, I thought, okay, you took a bunch of pictures and then you used an Apple phone utility that stitched them together after the fact. But now it's real time.
Real time.
That is just awesome. All right, well, let's check final questions and then get things wound up. Let me see. Am I in time for Santa, Dave? Well, you missed I don't know if you made the contest or not. Yeah, you made it at 3:17. That's cool. Con is here. Ooh, wow, a whole bunch of. Okay, I super scrolled as usual.
So Mohammed actually had a question right at the end of your presentation at 3:10.
Okay.
And he asked, "What if I cannot log into the host because the old SSH version? How do you solve that?"
Well, it depends on which one is old. If it's the one on the client, you're simply going to have to get a new client. Now, if you don't want to use the native client, all the new ones are fully backward compatible with anything. So you can pick up a copy of PuTTY. That's the quickest, easiest way to go. Otherwise, whatever the source of your SSH client is, you're going to have to go to that source and get their latest and greatest one.
Excellent. And another question, James asked, do you still fly?
Yeah, that was what I was going to answer shortly. I have not flown a physical aircraft now since pre-COVID. I do go back occasionally and get recertified with some friends in the simulator biz. So I try and get recurrent every year on 737s, 757s, and 67s. And there's a Challenger jet, yeah, Challenger, but it's not the big G5. It's the G250. So it's not cool. But what happened is the nice folks at Challenger, everybody knows the Challenger G5, and now they've got the G6. But the Challenger people bought out a company that made some smaller jets, and they renamed them according to their naming conventions. So Challenger's got the G1, G2, 3, 4, 5, and then they made the 150, 250, 350, and so on. So I'm certified in the 350. But no, I haven't even been up in a light plane in a couple of years. I should borrow a friend's now or again. I keep thinking that when we're going to go, when Ben's ready to come back from a spring break or something like that, I'll rent a plane or borrow one or something like that. It's cheaper to fly them. It's sad to say, but avgas has gotten so expensive, and the maintenance cost on aircraft that I have succumbed. Yep, you were second time you were closest. Yeah, you were very close, Andre. We were looking at two of your numbers. Okay, Mohammed issues congrats to Will Shaw. We got special deals reposted at 320. We have the SSH links posted at 321. Did you repost the Discord link?
I did.
Okay. It's somewhere in here.
There
it is. I see it at 320. So I'm going to join up on Discord for a little bit today. I figure most people are going to break up pretty quick because it's Christmas Eve, right? And some people, it's already becoming Christmas morning that are watching us. But Xerxes, Merry Christmas to you as well. Andre ain't got no time to study anything at the moment anyways. School, family, Net Plus. Yeah, but remember, Andre, they're good for a year. So when they do open it up, and when we do open it up for a second voucher, don't turn it down just because you don't have time now, because a lot can happen in a year.
True.
Your hat has nothing on mine, Scott Jerning, and mine is, oh yeah. Hey, you know what? If you haven't been on Discord, get on Discord today. You have to see Andre de Goyert's cap. I won't describe it to you. You're gonna have to be there, but you don't have to have a camera to see it. Just go to the voice channel. That's where the camera channel is. And he has a hilarious hat. Oh, Hunter Zarnick says that's incredible. That's a nice setup, Scott. Yeah, absolutely.
The Xerxes. Is there any good way to pay attention in SQL classes? They are also boring.
I'm glad you said that. I am writing a SQL course right now because I've got to do a class on it at the end of February or so. And I will kill myself to make it fun and interesting. And if it does turn out that way, we'll find a way to make it available to you. I'm thinking that could very easily be just a YouTube posted one.
Sure.
We don't have to have it. We're not doing anything that needs to incorporate it into one of the paid for classes. All right. That pretty much winds everything up at 327 with the Xerxes getting in the last words. Are a good way to pay attention. Okay. Is it what you said, what I said?
Absolutely. All right.
So let me go to Uncle Notes, make sure there's nothing left in them because I know that there is. There always is. Scott, Merry Christmas to you. You guys have a wonderful time. You planning on being off for the rest of the year?
I am.
Outstanding. I will call you every day.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Just to see if I'm working.
Yeah. We got cool stuff going on at the beginning of next year. We're going to do Nessus. We're going to do some hardware projects. I have so many things queued up right now. It's just going to be a really great show. Let me do my close down thing here. And I do want to mention one thing that is near and dear to my heart. How's that? So first of all, many thanks to Mike Myers for letting us get together with this, to Scott Jernigan. Thanks for joining me on camera today. That was awesome.
My pleasure.
Everybody total, and most of all to all of you without whom this would not happen and we wouldn't be giving away free vouchers every week. I want to talk about Boxing Day.
Wow, segue.
Yeah,
Okay.
I knew I'm here to shop. So Boxing Day is celebrated in many countries around the world the day after Christmas. For a lot of cultures, it has become a second Christmas day, but its origins are built around helping out those who are less fortunate and maybe didn't get a good Christmas. And so I hope we'll all consider kind of restoring Boxing Day to what it was and see if there's somebody you can help out. I wish you all a Merry Christmas, a Happy Christmas. I will see you before the New Year, so will Mike. So cool bananas. And in the meantime, this has been Dave Rush. I'm the senior instructor at Total Seminars with
And
Scott Jernigan,
editor-in-chief.
editor at Total Seminars.
Yeah.
I'm the resident pie specialist. I wish you great weekends. I wish you great holidays. Take care of each other. Take serious steps to stay healthy. Call and visit your parents and the rest of your family. And never forget, technology is great, but the greatest resource we have are you and I. So with that, good night. We'll see you on Discord and at the AMAs next week. Until then, I am out of here. This presentation was recorded before a live audience and is a production of Total Seminars. I'm having fun with that.
Yeah, sounds great.